Two lacrosse blue bloods, Johns Hopkins and Notre Dame, set to take the field as we wrap up a fantastic weekend of college lacrosse in the first round of the NCAA lacrosse tournament. Notre Dame has been to 14 straight NCAA tournaments. Hopkins has been to 46 of the last 48. That's unbelievable. So familiar territory for both these teams. Here's a look at the bottom half of the bracket. Duke just beat Richmond, so the Blue Devils will advance next Saturday to take on the winner of this game between Notre Dame and Johns Hopkins in Hempstead. Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Cotter. Paul Carcaterra is here with me at our Lotta Stadium here, getting set for Notre Dame and Hopkins. When you think about these two teams, they're used to being here. That's what they have in common. What they don't have in common is how they go about their business offensively.
Yeah, let's start with Notre Dame. It's all about the midfield, and ACC Offensive Player of the Year, Brian Costabile, the most feared midfield shooter in the country. Why? It's his shooting versatility. He can spray it from downtown, but when defenders press on him, he has the feet, the size, and speed to dust the opposition. Hopkins goalie Ryan Darby needs to be on red alert. 26 is coming.
Costabile, inside lacrosse, first-team All-American. Rest assured he will be on many other All-American teams before all is said and done. Meanwhile, when you talk about Johns Hopkins, they had a hot recruit coming in Joey Epstein. He has lived up to the bill.
Believe the hype. Nation's top recruit a season ago. He has delivered. His inside shooting from a low-angle standpoint is that of a wizard. He could also beat you with a step-down shot. 7 goals against Penn State in the Big Ten final. Notre Dame always likes to erase opponents' top option. His presence in this game will define the outcome for the Jays.
He has gotten better and better as the season has progressed. Meanwhile, we've got big news on the Notre Dame front. See that number 50 right there? That's a familiar number. And the locks coming out of the back of the helmet? Yeah, that's Ryder Garnsey. He's been ineligible all season long, hasn't played because of academic issues. He's dressed, and he's playing tonight for Notre Dame.
He's back. How about the timing of this one for 50 and white? How does it impact the offensive chemistry? 14 games without him. Well, now he's back in the lineup, but he's different than every other Notre Dame offensive player. He's got that street ball feel to his game, the flair. A lot of the other players on this Notre Dame offense play within the system, and he will be an absolute headache to deal with.
And we're getting set for the opening faceoff. Final game of the weekend. Winner advances to take on Duke. It's Notre Dame and Johns Hopkins. Hopkins opting to go with Prouty. They're going to go with at least 2 different face-off men on the day. Expect to see Matt Naruski a little bit later on as well, but Prouty wins. Hopkins will be with possession first off. Alex Concannon. Now to Forey Smith. As Kark wrestles with his headset. In goal for Notre Dame to start. Matt Schmidt started the season in net. Gave way to John Zullo temporarily, now back in goal. Coach says he won it back in practice and in games. His effort has given him minutes. 30 seconds to shoot for Hopkins. Here's Epstein, rolling up top. Finds Smith, and he scores! Forey Smith, one of the team captains for Hopkins, puts the Blue Jays up early.
Just what the doctor ordered for the Jays. If you look at the last couple weeks of the season, the back-to-back wins against the Maryland Terps, the offense was flying. In the Big Ten Championship against Penn State, it was flying. And Joey Epstein has been the conductor of this offense. How about that move from X? Every gold helmet staring at 32 in blue, because he can deal.
Hopkins with the good start here on the road. Violation on the face-off from Prouty. We'll give the ball to Notre Dame. First opportunity to see the Irish set up offensively. Brendan Gleason wearing the number 40, wore 19 for much of the season before moving to number 40 in honor of Mike Sennett. Here's Costabile. He'll look to dodge. Over to Gleason. Up top to Quinn McCann. Ryan Darby in net for Hopkins. He's had an outstanding season. Now behind the cage. Costabile fires and scores.
That's the guy, ACC Offensive Player of the Year. Comes into this contest with 37 goals and 3 assists. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that he wants to shoot. And this is his money zone right there. Out front from downtown. And Darby not stepping to the ball. When you're not stepping to the ball on Brian Costabile, turn and rake.
ACC Player of the Year, 2-time All-American, former high school quarterback. Costabile is the quarterback of this offense. Scored a goal in every game this year. Notch another one for Costabile, and we're all netted up. Leonard and Prouty wrestling at the X. Leonard has been somewhat of a revelation this year for the Irish. 22nd in the country, winning almost 60% of his draws, and he wins this one. Irish looking for quick offense. Now they'll settle in. Coach Corrigan will make his substitution. Slight, just steady drizzle here at Arlotta Stadium tonight. Bit chilly. The rain has just started a little bit here, Kark, in the last few minutes, and that always has at least some impact on the game, doesn't it?
Does indeed, and this entire spring we've been fighting the elements, begging for sun.
Hopefully you guys will get it next weekend at Hempstead and at East Hartford for the quarterfinals. One spot left up for grabs, though. One of these two teams will take it. Here's Meyer. Gets his hands free a bit. Now he'll shoot. Off the pipe.
I like Meyer's athleticism. Did the regular season game when the Irish defeated the Maryland Terrapins indoors, and Meyer had a goal in that game, but it was his separation and his ability to attack short stick defenders. He's got some burst.
Rick's son, 4 goals on the season. Second line midfielder. There he is, number 14. Behind the cage now to Willits. That's Connor Morin. One of the top recruits in the country 2 years ago. Getting a lot more playing time now in his sophomore year. He'll roll back and get open and score.
Watch the timing of this dodge by Connor Morin, who takes Caldwell 16 in blue to the rack. Too high in the approach by 16 in blue. You see him up by the shoulders, and then watch Morin. Once he feels the high shoulder pressure, you dip underneath, inside roll. Good night.
Morin, young man out of New Jersey, gives the Irish the 2-1 lead.
The Irish goal scored, number 22.
Prouty. And Leonard wins another one. This kid's an athlete, too. Look at him on his horse.
In the past, Notre Dame was striving for 50% at the face-off X. Well, now Kevin Corrigan has his best face-off man statistically in years. Leonard hitting at 59%.
Said he just wills himself to be a good player.
He does. If you look at his leg strength, too, and his ability to soak checks after he scoops the ground ball.
Jackaboy's now leading. Jackaboy's first time we've called his name with a head of speed down the alley. Now back behind the cage. Up top to Costabile. Thought about letting it fly. Now gets closer and does with the bounce shot. But it bounces over. Goaltender's head picked up now by Morin behind the cage.
Costabile, 26 and white, is a fantastic talent. But if I'm Hopkins, I am sliding to him immediately and making him prove that he can be a passer. 3 assists only on the season. Make him distribute off the dodge.
8 seconds to shoot now. Lauren, back topside. Quick pass and a shot. There's Darby. His first save of the game, and Hopkins will look to clear.
Go ahead.
6 seconds now to get it across the midfield line. And now Hopkins will once again set up offensively. Strange year for Johns Hopkins, Paul. They started the season 0-2 and really at times had a hard time kind of figuring things out really until the last 3 weeks of the season.
Offensively, though, they're different right now. Cole Williams, 14 in blue, the big guy up top. He's now dodging in front of the cage more.
Here he is.
Joey Epstein has firmly cemented himself as the quarterback of this team, and he's taking way more chances, not playing like a freshman.
There's Williams coming up topside. They look to roll back. Still wants to use that left. Now gets rid of it. Tried to force a pass inside to Evan Zinn. Could not. Loose ball picked up by the Irish. Here's Gleason.
Don't sleep on White.
Costabile feigns the pit, loses the ball temporarily, and now picked up by Ryanson and Hopkins. Now that they throw it away.
Good check by Ryanson, 87 in blue, to harass Costabile, who dodged to his left. Big-time righty who can sling it from downtown.
Great job defensively by Matt Hubler. Going to get the call going against him, though. Irish retain.
Yeah, loose ball hold by Hubler. That will reset the shot clock back to 80.
Gleason up top. Gets free. That's Meyer. He'll go to the goal. Shoot and score!
I mentioned Meyer as an athlete, and he will add another dimension to this Notre Dame midfield with all the attention on Costabile. Don't forget about the young bucks like Meyer. He might be a righty, but guess what? He's going to the rack and delivering. Irish up 2 early in the first.
Men have skin too, you know. And Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Johns Hopkins players and their mothers bringing us back from break. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, including my own mom. Happy Mother's Day to you. Several here in attendance at Arlotta Stadium. Hopkins fans are here. 2-goal lead for Notre Dame as of this moment. There's Coach Petramala right there. I mentioned Hopkins started the season 0-2. Yeah, they were losses to Towson and Loyola, so disappointing in that respect, but good teams. Then they picked things up. Really got the win they needed to have on the road against Maryland, and the regular season beat them again in the Big Ten tournament, and then took Penn State to the brink. That's what got them in. Notre Dame, meanwhile, wildly inconsistent season for the Irish. Hadn't won 3 games in a row yet to this point in the year. At times they look great, at other times, Paul, maybe not so much.
Look at their last 2 games. They looked outstanding,
yeah,
against Duke in the ACC semifinal, putting up huge goals and getting into double digits against a really good Duke defense, and then 4 goals in the ACC final against Virginia. So who is the Notre Dame offense is what we all want to know.
Prouty battling again with Leonard. Leonard comes out of the scrum with it. Notre Dame again will look to settle things down.
And when this Irish offense is at its best, you know, in the past, sometimes there were 2 or 3 dodging options. Now you have Costabile. You have Quinn McCann with the ball right now. Jacobois with the ball 55 in white. So you have 3 guys up top who can dodge. And then behind you have Gleason and Morin.
Darby is there, saw that one all the way off the cross of McCann. We'll get a push here, loose ball push rather. It's going to go back to the Irish.
5 Dodgers on offense. Automatically, someone's got the matchup. When you are that versatile in terms of your playmaking ability and attacking defenses, good things can happen.
Here's Costabile up top. Get a little bit ahead of steam, going up against Kuhn. Warren coming out goal line extended. Back up top to McCann. Slide coming, meanwhile, here's Moore and back to the cage. McCann thought about it, pulls it back outside. McCann, a freshman, pressed into duty this year. Oregon a little thin at that midfield spot. He's played fantastically. Costabile weaves his way through traffic, can't get the shot off though before losing it, and Hopkins will look to clear.
Defensively, you have to be in attack mode when 26 goes through the gut in the heart of your defense. You have to make him feel it. Force him, like I said earlier, to be a passer. If he wants to dodge and he wants to go through the heart of your defense, if you're the Blue Jays, you got to bring it.
Alex Concannon now the veteran of this midfield unit for Hopkins. Senior from Sayas comes topside, back to his right. Thought about taking a shot, didn't have a good angle. Boy, a fantastic save that time by Marr just to keep possession for Hopkins.
The hockey wrists coming in handy for Kyle Marr.
Now Marr will look to dodge. To his right, lefty now, skip pass, will get a shot. Epstein is there, but Schmidt was there to stone him.
Epstein doesn't have the angle there. What I would like to see from the freshman is when he catches that to have an aggressive plant foot on the defender who's approaching and come up top and increase your angle there. He's on a flat angle.
Smart play by Restic there, knowing he wasn't going to get called for over and back. It's not an over and back until we reach the 60-second mark on that clearing clock. So he was able to keep possession for the Irish. Big lefty shot and a score! That's my guy, Nicky Stinn. I'm going to call him Nicky Stinn, even though he goes by Nick Stinn, because I think it sounds better. I haven't checked with him yet, though, on that. I hope he's all right with it.
Out of San Francisco, California, Nick Stinn, the senior midfielder, making it happen, but it starts on the other end. Matt Schmidt, who was fantastic in the ACC semifinal against Duke, 18 saves. He gives the offense an opportunity. Stinn layers the shoulder there. And then when you get your shoulder in on a defender and he's backpedaling, if you can time it properly with the contact and the backpedal of the defender, your hands are going to be free. Time to sling.
4 straight goals for the Irish. They extend that lead to 3. Prouty and Leonard battling. Prouty trying to win. Leonard gets it. Will he keep his feet? He does. That's now 5 out of 6 faceoffs for the Irish.
There's the scrap by Leonard. One of the reasons why T.D. Erlin is so good, when he wins the faceoff, he can handle pressure. He's athletic enough to escape. You see that from Leonard there. Get the faceoff, soak the checks, run to daylight. Sounds easy, but it's not, because every single team has a formula against a good faceoff guy, how they're going to attack when he scoops the ball.
McCann, Costabile, and Jacobois, this top midfield unit here for Coach Corrigan and the Irish. There's Morin behind the cage. He'll look for Jacobois.
I think everyone wants to know, when will 50 and white Ryder Garnsey make his 2019 debut?
Eligible for the first time today to play for the Irish. He's dressed and can play. This Irish offense, though, so far in this first quarter, Paul, they haven't needed him. They've been a well-oiled machine. Costabile making the most of the possession, inside of 10 to shoot. He'll shoot and score. No. Yes, he does. Looked like Darby had a hard enough time finding it. I had a hard enough time finding it, but it sneaks by him.
The essence of Brian Costabile on display with this goal. You fear a guy like Costabile when he gets outside to shoot. But what he does as a shooter to set up the dodge is what makes him fantastic, as Ryder Garnsey, the senior, who we've yet to see celebrating 26, the ACC Offensive Player of the Year. But Chris, Brian Costabile's a shooter, but what he does to set up his dodge and how he reverses that as well, and how he can use his dodge to set up his spot shot is what makes him so tough. A lot of guys, it's one or the other. Now, he doesn't have the crazy passing game as a distributing midi, but as a shooter, he's virtually impossible to scout because of his lack of tendencies, because he can dodge, he can shoot, and the pressure that he puts on the perimeter has defenses guessing.
Coach Petramala calling a timeout here. Let's talk about what we've got coming your way next weekend. The quarterfinals. We've got the times for the matchups now. Saturday at noon, look at this, Virginia and Maryland, a couple of old ACC foes going at it again on ESPNU to get us started, and then Duke and the winner of this game follows at 2:30.
Duke squeezed one out against Richmond and Dan Shamati, who was a fantastic two-way midfielder for the Blue Devils. And then how about Penn State Loyola? Penn State, Grant Ament, the best single season from a passing standpoint, NCAA history, going against Pat Spencer, who broke the career record for assists. So there will be some crazy passing on display in that quarter. And then round three.
Yeah,
round
the tree match.
Three.
Yale and Penn, cannot wait for that one. They always say it's really tough to beat a team twice in a year, 3 times in a year. It's that much more difficult. But these two teams know each other so well, Yale and Penn. I'm not sure it has that much of an impact in that matchup.
And Penn has the one thing that no other team the entire season has had. Someone who can negate or actually go toe-to-toe with T.D. Erlin. Because if you look at Kyle Gallagher, he's had an amazing year for Penn, the transfer from Hofstra. Statistically, in the last matchup in the Ivy Championship, he was on the positive end against Erlin.
Face-offs here are big in this game. It's 5 out of 6 so far for Notre Dame. Matt Naruski is put in now for Petramala to try and win a draw, and he can't do it. This, like so many games we've seen this weekend, Paul, the face-off X, we've got a dominant player here in Charles Leonard, and the field is tilted so much to the left in this first half.
Who has the ball right now? Ryder Garnsey. He's back.
Number 50 for the Irish. First minutes of the season. And we'll see how he meshes with this team. It's always going to be an interesting deal. And the chemistry, if you will. He's been practicing with the team all season long, so he certainly is no stranger to his teammates. Lauren, now the skip pass. Wide open up top. Myers, second of the night.
When you play in May, some players who don't have significant impacts during the season need to emerge if you want to go on a championship run. Well, the versatility of the Notre Dame offense and the depth of scoring in the Dodgers has Johns Hopkins now sliding and paying attention to every ball carrier because they're playmakers who can beat their guy one-on-one. What does that then give us? Morrison Meyer with step-down shots from the outside with no one on him.
Yeah.
You see the Blue Jay defense. Everyone's looking at Morin to support that matchup.
Morrison Meyer, Rick's kid, came into this game 4 goals on the season. He's got 2 in the first quarter here tonight. The advantage is 5 for the Irish. Naruski wins the draw. That's big for the Blue Jays as they need to start evening things out there at the X.
Well, Hopkins has 2 face-off guys with Prouty and Naruski. So stylistically, if you kind of mix it up and then get some rhythm from one of them, that's the beauty of having 2 guys where Notre Dame really won't go deep at that position. They're going to put a lot of pressure on their ace.
Don't be surprised to see Wes Naruski of the Nabruski brothers at some point in time at that faceoff dot in this game, too. Here's Williams. He's had such a great last month of the season. Can't quite get to the net. Now behind the cage to Epstein. Haven't seen much of him yet tonight because they haven't had the ball much tonight. Now he dodges and gets free behind the cage. Tough angle shot. Blocked that post.
I think Joey Epstein figured after that move the slide was going to be in his face and probably could have taken another step or two there. He had all of the room he needed. A fantastic dodge at X, and he's been tripping up guys all season long. Left side of your screen, where's the Notre Dame slide? It's not there, so Epstein, take another 2 or 3 steps.
Had his first good look of the night, couldn't bury it. Schmidt was there to block that near side post. Final minute of the first quarter. Hopkins scored first. Notre Dame has rattled off 6 straight goals. You can hear Coach Petromala barking out instructions to his defense. 25 seconds. Shot clock is just about a second and a half, 2 seconds earlier.
And 55 in white. He's got some wheels.
Jacket boys, he'll use those wheels right now to get his left free. Tried to find McCann in front. Can't that time. Misses with 5 to shoot. It'll go over to Hopkins, though, so it's irrelevant. 7.8 to go in this first quarter. Gilman pass for the Blue Jays. It'll go past the end line, and we'll have 1.7 for Schmidt to just let the clock run out in this first quarter. A very successful first quarter for the Irish. Karki, Notre Dame on their home turf. 9 straight home games here at Arlotta for the Irish, and they played like they're used to being here.
This offense is feast or famine, and right now, they're feasting. The Irish are up big on the Jays.
RB, 6-1 is our score after 1, and it's because the Irish have been filling it up.
I don't fault Coach Petromala for making the change. I just didn't see an explosive first step out of Darby. He's not exploding to the ball and meeting the shooting stroke of these Notre Dame offensive players. And you need a spark? Go to your backup goalie. We have not seen the stops, which in turn have limited the offensive opportunities for the Jays because they're also getting beat up at the face-off X.
Charlie Leonard has done a fantastic job for the Irish, as he has all year. Matt Nabruski now second face-off man that Petro was put in to try and turn the tide. He won one earlier. Big scrum still up midfield. He hit the pass. So the Irish should come out with possession.
You're Jack alone. You want to see this first shot ASAP. And you got nothing to lose, young man. You're playing with house money. The expectations are not on you, but you want to seize this moment.
McCann, he'll look to go down the alley. Now Costa Beal beats his man initially. Bounce shot.
And now the Notre Dame offensive players need to adjust. Jackalone is bigger, and he's a lefty. Darby's smaller and a righty.
What kind of adjustment are you talking about then from a shooter's perspective?
Where you're shooting, when you're going down the alley, as a midfielder, changes everything in regards to the hand of the goalie.
That shot deflected before it even got to Jackalone. Loose ball. Big scrum for it as we move upfield. Still loose, and the Irish and Gleason come up with it. Now they'll look to strike. Garnsey took the shot wide of the net.
You got to wonder the emotions and what's going through his mind right now, as you mentioned. Sat out the entire regular season. That's 14 games.
Nice dodge, another nice one. Jack alone, big save.
There's the lefty. On Darby, that's off hip. On Jack alone, it's 2 for $1.
Great moves by McCann to get himself free. Couldn't quite bury the shot, though. Here come the Blue Jays.
Quinn, he's a lefty! Quinn, he's a lefty!
DeSimone waits for the substitution pattern to complete. There's Alex Kincannon. Here comes Forey Smith. First midfield unit on now for Coach Petramala.
What I've liked about this offense of late, Cole Williams has dodged from up top, so you have a playmaker up top, and then Epstein behind balances the field for the Jays.
Kincannon looking to get free. Tried a quick pass to Forey Smith. They couldn't connect. It's going to go back to the Irish.
I want to see every possession Epstein touch the ball.
You get a feeling like the field has been so tilted, and then you get a quick possession on this side, it's almost deflated.
Because he rarely gets the ball dislodged from a dodging standpoint. He's going to have some turnovers, but it's a higher risk, higher reward. It's different when Epstein has the ball.
Desperation move, and a good one that time by the Irish to complete the clear. They get it across the timeline in time. Bench looking for a hold, won't get it. Gleason trying to work to the cage. Here comes the slide. Here's Garnsey. He'll work from X. Up top, McNamara had a big shot, but it goes wide.
I like the body language from Jackalone. Barking out orders. He's been on shots. Coach Petramala told me earlier in the season he's kind of like that loose guy on the team character. Funny kid who keeps things loose.
Makes another stop. So far, so good for Jackalone, who's come in for Darby right at the end of that first quarter.
Bigger guy, too. You know, he's holding that pipe. He's a lefty. He's made these 2 saves now. He's getting some confidence, and this guy's a difference maker, too. Zinn, 29 in blue, is the fastest guy on the Blue Jays and didn't play a ton earlier in the season. But his ability to get things going in transition and being a north-south Dodger has been a big boost for the Jays.
We saw Forey Smith score early for Johns Hopkins. Since then, 2 shots, Paul, 2 shots. Here's Williams. You talk about him dodging from up top. Epstein. Got a shorty on him. Will he take advantage? Got the shot on net. Schmidt was there. Williams now. Back up top. Keogh over to Epstein.
He's got a shorty.
Drawing a lot of attention from that Notre Dame defense. Williams off the pipe. That had to dent the pipe.
Oh, yeah, that's why I like him up top. Lefty, righty, can shoot it 90-plus, both hands.
Stinn will look for help. He gets it from McNamara. He's open. Closing out on it was Kuhn that time, forcing the shot to go over the cage. Get a stoppage here as Coach Corrigan wants a timeout. The Irish continue to lead by 5. Winner advances to next weekend's quarterfinal. Irish up 5, second quarter here from South Bend. You know when the last time these 2 teams met, Clark? 12 years ago, also a first-round game.
And the Jays won the national title that season. Guys like Paul Rabel, Steven Pizer got it done.
Look at this guy.
Who's that? It's Ryan Hoff, one of our colleagues.
Don't hassle the Hoff.
He loved making it rain on the crease. It was all Jays in the end. And they won the national title that season. And it's raining again.
Kimmel with the overtime winner there. Once again, it rains. Petro looks exactly like he did 12 years ago, right?
It does.
Good haircut. Courtesy of Clark the Barber to my right.
Love the celebration by Hoff, too. Hoff had a game similar to a guy for Yale right now. Matt Gaudette needs the ball in his stick about 20 seconds a game.
Gleason, how did he get open that time? That seemed like a little miscommunication from Hopkins, and he buried it.
right out of a timeout. You're smiling ear to ear if you're Kevin Corrigan because of what you just drew up. And you are livid if you are Coach Petramala. That is a fantastic play by Gleason because he kind of stutters one way. It looks like he's going up the right pipe and then uses the pick. And I mentioned Joey Epstein as a fantastic low-angle shooter. Well, guess what? Brendan Gleason's got that too. Guys like Gleason, Epstein, and Ryder Garnsey, they just need the smallest little window around goal line extended to make it rain.
Gleason traded in his number 9 jersey before the North Carolina game this year for number 40 in honor of Mike Sennett.
40. Let's go, Charlie!
A big game that day. He's having one today, too. 7-1 right now, Irish on top. Naruski will continue to battle with Leonard. And Leonard will continue to get the better of that matchup. Now he's in trouble. Corrigan gets the timeout to preserve possession for the Irish. 9.5 minutes left to go here in the second quarter.
Coach Corrigan feels that he has the Jays on the rope. This game has a similar feel to the game we had yesterday, right? Yale against Georgetown. T.D. Erlin dominating faceoffs early. Went up 7-1. But Georgetown in quarters 2, 3, and then part of that fourth quarter outplayed Yale. They also had Dan Buccaro, who had 8 goals and who was amazing.
Almost single-handedly brought them back into it.
So the Jays will need some serious life offensively and find possessions too, because right now Leonard is dominating the X, so your ride game has to be much better and aggressive. You have to be flawless in the clearing game, because right now it looks like Leonard is in a groove.
Lacrosse coverage continues Saturday, May 18th. That's next Saturday. Quarterfinal action. It starts at 12 Eastern. That's noon, live on ESPNU. For more information on the 2019 Men's Lacrosse Championship, go to NCAA.com. That's the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. 90 of them. Looking for Charles. There he is right there. He, a couple of face-offs ago. Remember, he kind of came limping off the field. Training staff doesn't look too unhappy about it.
Charlie Leonard coming into this game, 317 face-offs. The next guy, 5 attempts.
Yeah, there you see him limping off. That was a couple of draws ago. So he got that left ankle taped up. You just saw him, and he's back in action. No need for the draw here. Irish possession coming off the timeout. Jacob Boys with a full head of steam got to the crease. Irish retained possession. Willis ran it down on the sideline. McCann, he has been active tonight. Up top, tough pass, can't be handled.
Ryder.
Foley trying to pick up the ground ball and does. Will Hopkins look to strike quickly. Back to shot straight up in the air. Kuhn had a good look at it.
Yeah, Kuhn can rip. That's one of the guys, if you're an offensive player, if he's open, you give him the ball because he can let it fly.
DeSimone, watch out. Restic was coming hard, keeps possession. Now Concannon will look to put it into play. Top midfield unit now with Concannon, DeSimone, and Forey Smith on for the Hopkins Blue Jays. Two-man game behind with Epstein.
That two-man game. He gets this shorty.
Yeah. Can he take advantage of it, though? Hasn't yet. Gets a little space. Sean's so good, though, with the speed and quickness to make up for it. Help comes. Smith is open and scores.
Joey Epstein is a freshman, but from a lacrosse IQ standpoint, he's a cagey veteran who sees the field like a pro. The patience and the understanding of timing the cut. Epstein does that with a guy in his hands and a slide coming. Look at this pass by Epstein. Pressure and anticipation Forey Smith, the recipient of beautiful orchestrating offense by that guy right there, Epstein.
Forey Smith scored the first goal of the game. He scores this most recent goal, and it breaks a 7-0 run by the Irish. So the Jays now down 5. And the Roos keep battling with Leonard. Wins it out, but unfortunately it had too much juice behind it. The Irish pick up the loose ball.
Got to pressure there if you're Hopkins.
There's another loose ball.
Over, Jose. Behind you!
Jose Boyer picks it up. Now he's got a head of steam toward the goal. Defense finally closes up around him.
He got one in the midsection, yeah.
He's going to be slow to come off. Boyer, number 46, feeling it as he trots off the field. Myra coming on now for the Irish. 2 goals already in this contest, number 14. Ball deflected past midfield. Tried to get Keelty up there to prevent the over and back, cannot, and Hopkins takes over. 7 minutes left to go here in this first half. Down 5, they just scored the last goal of the game, Kark.
Come on, G!
A run would certainly do the Jays well as we head toward halftime. Keogh now second line midfield out there for Petramala, including Evan Zinn, number 29. This is Keogh.
Come on, teammate!
Has a step.
Good left.
Bad angle on that shot, though. And it's a great hustle play by the Irish to win possession.
Arden Cohn absolutely flew to the sideline there to get possession as that shot went out of bounds closer to the ball. Irish.
Wonder if his dad got some good photos of that when we saw him with his
dad
camera equipment before the game.
Always has a smile on his face. Always has a camera. Documenting his kids'
everything.
Lacrosse journey.
Costabile. Jacobois now. Beats Ryan Coulter to his left. Whistles it wide.
I like that speed. Playing youth lacrosse. Kevin Kelly, a Syracuse grad, one of his youth coaches, then went to Culver, and he's got a huge upside.
Costabile. We'll get a flag here right in Costabile's noggin. That's going to be a penalty against Hopkins.
He got drilled after as well. Things are going the Irish way. Matt Palem barking the call. Look at this hustle by Arden Cohn. Keogh shoots the ball. He knows closer to the ball when it goes out of bounds will get you possession, so sell out. Oof, wow.
Right in the neck area.
Foley just crushed him in the head.
Man up opportunity for the Irish. 50 Ryder Garnsy's on this man up unit. That's Jacobois. Costabile okay after that hit to the head. Skip pass. Oh boy. McCann just thought about it, peeled away. Now Garns will get a chance and scores! And look at the Notre Dame bench.
He's back. 50 in white. Has crazy flair to his game and is different than every other player on this Notre Dame team. He's a scorer who makes plays, and he's had a rough year. Sitting watching 14 games being academically ineligible. You gotta love the fact that he grinded and went to practice every single day. So right now, you gotta be happy for this kid. He didn't pout. He didn't point fingers. He owned it. And he owned that corner as well.
former ACC Rookie of the Year, leading scorer for this Notre Dame team last 2 seasons. And he nets his first goal in the 2019 season. And what a way to do it, and what a time to do it here in the NCAA tournament. Get a hold. It'll go against the Irish. Possession for Hopkins, and they need to start taking advantage of these.
This was a game that no one had a clue what was going to happen. Would we see the Blue Jay offense that we saw 2 games in a row against Maryland in the wins, and then the huge offensive output against Penn State in the Big Ten championship?
Shot by DeSimone goes wide.
And then Notre Dame within a 2-week span. We saw huge offensive production with Brian Costabile's 5 goals in the ACC semis against Duke, and then the 4 total goals against Virginia. So coming in, we didn't know offensively who would have the game.
Williams spins twice. Just doesn't have the angle. Slide comes to cut him off. Kincannon. That's DeSimone. Back to Williams. Still 19 to shoot. Plenty of time. Tries to go to Marr on the far side. Couldn't pick up the ground ball. DeSimone battling for it, straight up in the air. Marr initially had a shot at it. Couldn't pick it up. Shot clock violation against Hopkins. It's going to go to Notre Dame. Will they look to strike quickly? They will not. They'll slow it down with the 6-goal cushion. Garnsey, he might be feeling it right now. Beats his man. Decides to take it back behind the cage. Still moving. Got Forey Smith on him. That's a good matchup for him. Over the top, though.
Here's something interesting, too. Ryder Garnsey, if you watched him play over the last few years, I saw him in high school as well. For him to play in 2019 with the dive, be prepared. Because when you think of divers, you think of that guy.
Yeah, first time for him in his college career being able to dive. Here's a good look at him. It's all smiles so far in this game. Petro wants to call a timeout, talk things over with the dead ball, trailing by 6. Monday Night Baseball presented by USAA comes your way at 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Reigning NL MVP Kristen Yelich and the Brewers taking on Bryce Harper in the NL East leading Phillies. Looking forward to this one. Monday night, 7 o'clock. Hopefully they'll have better weather than we're having right now so they can get that one in. If you're just joining us, Hopkins scored first here on the road to take a 1-0 lead. Then Notre Dame rattled off 7 in a row, winning the faceoffs, really keeping possession. Ryder Garnsey with his first goal of the year just moments ago. And now Petro trailing by 6 goals, calling a timeout, talking things over with his team, as is Coach Corrigan. There you see.
One year ago, Dallas says, don't Pat, when you slide up here, it's a good slide, but we ball pressure, but we got to be under control. Understand? Yeah.
You hear him there about the sliding. He liked the anticipation and the timing of the slide by Foley the last time Costabile went to the rack, but under control, had the penalty, which led to a man-up goal for Ryder Garnsey, his first of the season.
Clark, one of the things that we've seen is Hopkins hasn't had very many possessions because the faceoff act has been dominated by Charlie Leonard. But when they get possession, what do they need to do offensively to break this really cold streak?
Give him the ball. 32 in blue. Good things happen. Every time he's had the ball behind the cage, he's made a great pass or a really strong move. In a couple of those, he probably wishes he had the shot back, but the move was there. Good things happen when Joey Epstein has the ball. I give him the rock, and I give Cole Williams a dose up top, too, to balance the playmakers in terms of their offensive set. Those two guys.
May be a while before he gets it back. The Irish with possession. Griffin Westland, freshman attackman. Here's Ryder Garnsey. Trying to work a pick from Weston. Gets it back to him now. Skip pass over the top. Couldn't be handled by McNamara. Tipped, though, by Hopkins, so it'll stay with Notre Dame. 52 seconds. Plenty of time to shoot. 2:44 left to go in the first half. McNamara, bagpipe player for this Irish team. Behind the cage to Weston. Dislodge, really nice play by Hubler. Hopkins picks up possession temporarily, but loses it. Rapine now right back to the Irish. McNamara.
Those crush you, though, because you know your inability to win faceoffs. When you get the ball in your defensive end, you have to clear the ball cleanly.
Lisa now coming up with Hubler on him. Meyer back to his left and scores! The hat trick for Morrison Meyer. Career high 3 goals for the young man who came in with 4 on the season.
Man alive. There's another force in South Bend, and he's only a sophomore. Dad Rick was a legendary quarterback for the Irish. Well, the son's doing it on the lacrosse field, and he's doing it with his left hand. Dodging, spraying from the outside, and then shaking defenders and getting physical and just painting that side pipe. Wow.
The sophomore from San Diego looks a lot like his dad, doesn't he? Getting congratulations from his teammates. 3 goals in the first half, a career high for Meyer.
So think back, it's 8-2. Hopkins has the blown clear. You give the Notre Dame offense another opportunity against a tired defense. They score, they go back to the X, Leonard wins, and now you go at this tired defense again.
Costabile coming on the field. The All-American has quarterbacked this offense to a 7-goal advantage. Minute and a half left to go here in this first half. Winner takes on Duke next week in Hempstead. Bounce shot and another goal for the Irish.
Two goals this half gave the Irish a little bit more juice. One was Ryder Garnsey, who scored his first this season. Teammates knew how many practice hours he put in with the team without getting to play on game day. And then anytime your face-off guy who grinds it out, mucks it up, has a chance to plant and rip, he's going to do it. And guess what? This kid's an athlete, man. Coming into the game, 6 goals. So you better play him in the half set as a shooter if he gets time and room.
Prouty back at the dot now for Hopkins, as he will look to somehow solve Leonard, and possession is with Hopkins. Hubler now over to Mars. Hopkins' team will look to get something going here in the final minute of the first half. Shot clock is a non-factor at this point. Up top to Zinn.
I want to see the speed from the freshman. If they're going to press out and guard you above the restraining box, if you're 29 blue, see the blazing speed.
Marr will take a shot over the top. You know Marr wanted that one. He's looking for it. That's his spot. Good job by Hugh Krantz to close out and just alter it enough. Final 25 seconds of this first half. Half dominated by the Irish. Epstein on his own. Uses the pick. There's Marr. Couldn't get enough on it to get it on goal. Final 10 seconds. Loose ball. Will Hopkins have one final shot? Keogh trying to track it down. Cannot. The Irish clear it out of trouble, and the horn sounds to end this first half. The Irish. Sometimes they've played great this year. Other times we question it. Not this first half. 10 goals for Notre Dame. They lead by 8. Coming up at the half, Paul and I are going to have first-round highlights from several of the games so far. All 7 of the other games in the books. We'll announce the Inside Lacrosse All-America team, and we'll have highlights of this game, which will be tilted toward the Irish. Forey Smith scored first for the Blue Jays. Since then, it's been all Notre Dame. Gleason. Sting in the corner. There's Forey Smith. 10-2. Ryder Garnsey and the Irish on top. Our halftime score here at Arlotta. That's on the campus of Notre Dame. The Irish with the lead over Johns Hopkins. Chris Cotter, Paul Carcaterra on site, and boy, this is a 1-0 Hopkins lead, and then it was all Notre Dame from there. They're winning at the face-off battle, so they're keeping possession, and their offense has been efficient. Yeah, Charles Leonard, 10 for 14 at the X. It's been make it, take it, and giving the offense opportunities from a shooting standpoint. But Leonard has been mucking it up, grinding it, and his escapability and willingness to fight for every GB is giving this offense multiple opportunities. It's all about space shooting. You see all the Jays in that white helmets looking at the ball. Guys like Costabile setting their feet and letting it fly. That's been the story from the outside. Look at that space. You got to be kidding me. Morrison Meyer lets it go. Well, Garnsey's into the action too. All of the Jays focusing on the ball carrier. The skip passes have been deadly for the Irish. Take a look at our halftime stats, leaning, as you might expect, heavily toward the Irish in goals, shots, ground balls. They've won 10 out of 14 face-offs, and they lead by 8 as we start the third quarter. Prouty back at the X now for Hopkins, and Leonard continues to win draws for Notre Dame. Will generate quick offense. Rolls back to his right. He'll shoot. And at first, you didn't have really a good idea where the ball was, but Jackalone eventually found it, made the save, and now Hopkins looking to clear early. Three seconds to get the ball across the midfield line, and they just do it. Concannon, DeSimone, and now Forey Smith on the field for Hopkins at first midfield line. 2019 with the rule changes and the shot clock. This game is not toast. But if you're Hopkins and you're not winning draws, you got to be clean in all phases to give your offense multiple opportunities to attack. Here's Williams. Chance is just pressuring him now. Forey Smith. He'll fire with the left and score. The hat trick for Forey Smith. He's got every goal scored by the Blue Jays, and they cut into this deficit here early in the third. The rain's coming down. Maybe some life for the Jays. Forey Smith's first 2 goals were off ball with Joey Epstein behind, dealing the rock. This time he takes it himself for the unassisted tally for the Jays. That's the captain. Forey Smith, like Cole Williams, has really picked up his game in the last few games. So here we are, back at the X. The problem isn't just the X, it's the all-encompassing phases of the game for the Jays. They were 4 for 7 clearing the ball in that first half. They can't have any mishaps. If you're getting worked at the face-off X, you got to find ways to get possessions, but you also have to be able to be clean in all other stages of this game. So critical. Prouty did well to win that face-off possession on the violation. Here's Jack Keogh. Sophomore Adam and Hassett now back behind the cage. Keogh part of the second line midfield unit for Coach Petramala. Here's Epstein. You said he's got to have the ball in his cross. He's got it now. Over to Williams. With a shorty on him. Can he dodge and get free? Comes upfield. He does. Now the help comes. We're going to get a flag on that one. You can hear that up here. Hopkins will look to get a shot off on the delayed call. Here's Epstein. He's got the shorty on him. Can he take advantage? Can't get it. He'll shoot, then score! Wow!
This kid is so good. Joey Epstein came into this season with expectations through the roof. He's exceeded them. He does everything. If you watch him against Penn State, he's spraying from the outside. Today in the first half, making a couple tremendous passes. This time, dodging up the wing and going to his offhand with his left. And what Johns Hopkins is doing with the pick game and allowing Epstein to get short stick matchups, it is guaranteed offense when he has the rock.
Jose Boyer guilty of the slash. He's going to have to serve that 1-minute penalty. So you get the goal, you get a man up. Can you win possession at the X? You get a violation. Leonard jumped.
You look at a lot of attackmen nationally, and most of them do like one thing really, really well. Like just jumps out at you. You look at Mac O'Keefe, the guy shoots the lights out of the ball. He's got some dodging in his game as well. Other players might be fantastic passers. But what Epstein does in his versatility is remarkable for a freshman. He's a dodger, he's a passer, he's a shooter. He's triple threat. And to do that against all these defenders with Johns Hopkins in their schedule, #1 strength of schedule in the country. So every week he's getting the #1. And he's delivered.
As a freshman, Marr's going to take this shot. Just off target. That's twice now Marr's been right in his spot and hasn't been able to find the cage. There's Marr again. Tries to throw that complicated pass through the defense. Can't quite get it there. Big battle for a loose ball. Goal line extended. Look at the sticks flailing. We'll get a call against Hopkins, and Notre Dame will be able to kill the rest of this penalty.
They got Forey Smith with holding the ball there, but he was also getting mugged. So that's a tough call. Was it the sticks and defenders?
That was a scrum. That was about the definition of a scrum. I'm not sure how you could see any advantage one way or another. The officials saw it one way, and now it goes back to the Irish. Trying to withstand this early third quarter barrage from Hopkins, trying to get back into it.
You gotta get out and play it.
There's Costabile. Over to Jacoboys. Now Gleason. Quick ball moving for the Irish. Morin. Oh, almost McCann. Almost couldn't quite get it, but he does get a hand on it. Now turns it over. Kuhn will look to run.
Guy's a ball hawk.
Foley couldn't handle the pass, but possession with Epstein. Williams has some room to roam. Epstein scores!
Looks like he's holding his side or his ribs after that shot. Look, I've said it before, I'll say it again. This kid's incredible. Turnover for Notre Dame, so you got to get a little lucky here if you're Johns Hopkins in regards to forcing Notre Dame into poor decisions. If you look at the last goal, Joey Epstein dodging left-handed. Now he's high wing, set shooting, and stinging it. Is there anything this kid can't do? When I watch his game, I mentioned before, he's a triple threat attackman. It's hard enough to do one thing exceptionally well in the Division I ranks. To do two, really tough. To do three, it's incredible.
He's going to have to do it all tonight, Karki, because that goal, the third straight for the Jays, makes it still a 5-goal game.
Dodge, pass, shoot in space. Check, check, check for Epstein.
Prouty and Leonard just digging at it. Loose ball picked up by the Irish.
Told you, man, with the rule change in 2019, this game is not out of question for Johns Hopkins.
Look to get a stop here on the defensive end. Costabile's going to wait for the full substitution pattern to complete itself. Here comes McCann along with Jackaboys. Still 45 to shoot. Barnsley's on behind the cage. Jackaboys, boy, you can hear that one whip from here.
You can.
Costabile
Credit
that one.
Jack alone for making a big-time stop, low
You can
and away.
hear that ball whistling through this rainy night.
I like Jack Alone's body language. He's talking a lot. He's directing the defense. You can tell he gets pumped after a save. That's infectious. The 6 defenders in front of you, when you are barking and you're playing with passion, it will be contagious.
DeSimone now up to Forey Smith. Over to Alex Kincannon. Here's Cole Williams. Gets his hands free and he scores! And the Hopkins bench has come alive.
You put your backup goalie in. You want some life. You want some passion. You want some fight. Well, the best shooting midfielder in college lacrosse is staring you down. You make the stop. You give your offense some life. And if you watch Johns Hopkins early in the season, they were defined by behind the goal with Epstein and Williams. Now, the last month, they're putting Cole Williams up top, and you have balance. And the strength of Cole Williams is when he's running downhill in front of the goal. And he's righty and he's lefty.
There you can see refuses to let Cart cut his hair.
That's not true, by the way.
He will let you cut it.
His senior year. He's a junior right now. He told me.
He can always trim the loose ends.
Yeah, he told me when I was down there early in the season to let me do it.
Leonard, he'll take a shot. Jackalone is there. Back up to Prouty. Better part of Valor.
We got a game, Connor.
Back up to Epstein. It is now just a 4-goal game here. Hopkins has scored 4 in a row here to start the second half.
Let's see if once again the Jays can play that pick game and get Epstein against a short stick. Arden Cohn, their top defender, is guarding Epstein. As this possession progresses, will Epstein get a shorty?
Keogh. Here's Epstein. Inside, behind the back wraparound by Marr. Couldn't find the cage, hustling after it. Hopkins keeps possession, 30 to shoot.
Give it to 32 in blue.
Epstein set the pick.
There's
that
the
time.
shorty.
Epstein comes upfield. Tough angle shot, though, and Schmidt was right there to stone it. Big ground ball picked up by the Irish. Strong clear by the Irish. Just past the midway point of this third quarter. Notre Dame led by 8 at the break. Johns Hopkins has cut that lead in half here in this stanza. Ryder Garnsey has a goal in this game. First game for the Irish this season. Gleason, wow, really thought about it, backed off. McNamara now, still 30 to shoot. Myra, he's got a hat trick already with the left. Gets his fourth. Are you kidding me with this kid? He had 4 goals coming in for the entire season, Paul.
Hopkins came out blazing in the third quarter. The offense for Notre Dame didn't have a chance really to get the rock, but when they have, it's been the midfield and Morrison Meyer, 4 on the night.
Morrison Meyer is 4th of the game, giving Notre Dame the 5-goal cushion where we stand right now, third quarter. Winner of this game advances to the quarterfinals next week. We have our quarterfinals almost in place, 7 of the 8 teams. As you see, East Hartford, games on Sunday, Penn State, Loyola, Penn, Yale. Meanwhile, Hempstead, Virginia, Maryland, Duke awaits the winner of this one. All on ESPNU. Go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships for more information on lacrosse or on women's water polo, which was played today between USC and Stanford. I don't know who won that one, but I got to go to NCAA.com to find out. Meyer's been a big surprise for the Irish in terms of his offensive production tonight, 4 goals. And right now Notre Dame needs it because they're in a little bit of an offensive funk right now. And Hopkins believes right now. I think that's a big part of what we're seeing, isn't it, Cart?
I'm really impressed with the way they came out in the third quarter, man. There's fight, no quit out of the Jays.
Ground ball picked up by Rapine. Big physical defenseman.
Here's the deal. As Cole Williams is going to get pressured 14 games into a season, right? Regular season for Notre Dame. Coaches have tons of tape. There's opportunities for dudes like Morrison Meyer. There's not a ton of tape on him. He's been in some games, but guys like that can make a difference down the road in May, running for a championship. I mean, if you look at championship runs, there's always a surprise guy or two that make it happen for their team.
Epstein. Up top to DeSimone. That's Concannon. Coming from the wing.
He's got a shorty again.
Still 25 to shoot.
They're going to go quick here. Look for Epstein to be a passer.
Now the slide comes. Can't quite get it to Margot. Pass was high. And the Irish take over. Nice shot by Epstein on the ride, though.
Look, that was the first freshman-type mistake I've seen out of him all night, and then he makes that play to get it back.
Smith, who has the hat trick, opts not to take the shot. Back behind the cage of Cole Williams. Now Williams up top. We'll get a whistle. Forey Smith fell in the crease. Turnover.
Smith was playing that pick game a little too close to the crease. Cole Williams used it properly, but the contact off that pick and Smith falls in.
Rain starting to come down now steadily, a little bit harder than it has earlier on in the night. It's in general, it's been a wet night here in South Bend. Quinn McCann coming on now with a head of steam for the Irish. Notre Dame content to slow things down, up by 5 goals.
Hopkins in zone. Can slow down the Dodgers of Notre Dame. Counter that with Chris passing and a skip pass.
Garnsey looking. A jump shot and score! Wow. Didn't you say he was the offensive player with flair, the likes of which we haven't seen so far this year for the Irish?
Look, and I mean this with the greatest compliment. He is a street baller. He's got instincts and an ability to find creative approaches to the attack position that no one else on this Notre Dame team has. I mean, look at this here. This is just endless hours in your backyard trying crazy stuff and feeling pressure from the defense and making them pay. I mean, that is incredible.
Seeing his first action of the season tonight, he has 2. Lead back up to 6.
When you're a little kid, you watch guys like Mikey Powell, and then the younger generation watches guys like Lyle Thompson to get inspired to try things. And Ryder Garnsey is a complete lacrosse rat. The game of lacrosse means a ton to him. He studies it. He's always tried things from a different standpoint. And he can be tough to coach in regards to his teammates not really knowing what he's doing because he's not like that system program guy. But the flip side of it is he can do things that no one else on the team can do.
Chance for Hopkins off the strong ride. Now getting possession back. Down 6 again. Williams up top. Just whistles it over the top, frustrated with himself that he couldn't get that one on target.
Yeah, normally Cole, when he comes across like that, his efficiency and his shooting percentage much more favorable when he comes from that 3-quarter release because he's so big, he hides the stick from the goalie. When he goes low like that, 2 things bad can happen. You could fly it high, or the goalie sees it stick on stick.
Still plenty of time to shoot in this possession. Zinn just rips that one, missing the target. 39 to shoot for Hops. Epstein with Hollenbach on him. This is a good matchup for him. Coming up top, and he scores.
Low angle shooting. Saw it from Grant Ament from Penn State today. Seen it with a different style with Ryder Garnsey in that previous goal. And Joey Epstein, if you watch the tape, he had a couple that he missed early in this game. If you watch tape on him all season, he is magical shooting with low angle. And what he does is when he approaches goal line extended, he gets his stick away from his body to increase the angle. And that little shoulder dip. Wow.
He's breaking freshman records at Hopkins, which, as we know, is not easy to do. Now, 10 hat tricks on the year, so he sets another one.
And he's getting opponents #1 every single week. And he plays in the Big Ten. And out of conference, who does Hopkins play? Syracuse, Loyola, Towson.
Tough schedule.
Virginia. I mean, it's a gauntlet. It's the #1 strength of schedule in the country. In Epstein, as a freshman, since day one, is drawing the #1. And he's delivered. And I love the fact that he demands the ball. He has the moxie of a KG vet. You just see confidence in this kid.
Got to kill off a minute penalty here. Rob Kuhn, guilty of a slash. Take another look. This is a big ground ball right here. Just as it gets loose, right there, right on top of the head. Look at that call against you every time.
Right on the Golden Dome.
Minute man up opportunity for the Irish, up 5. 2:15 left to go here in this third quarter. The lead was 8 at the break. Irish threatening to run away with this thing. Hopkins has played a spirited third quarter to stay in it. That's Westland up top. Skip pass and a beauty. Oh, saved by Jack Alone.
You think there's going to be a goalie competition in the offseason with Darby and Jack Alone? Jack Alone's got another year.
Darby, the sophomore. You mentioned Jack Alone, the junior. Came in this game late in the first quarter, and he's been very good.
I'm not in a position to be at practice. Oh, get to this one in a second.
This is going to be trouble. Garnsey, hat trick.
That's emotion right there. 14 games watching. Well, May presents a second season. And Ryder Garnsey's making the most of it. Been practicing all season long, but game day's different. But this kid, since the day he arrived on campus, has had ice in his veins. ACC Rookie of the Year as a freshman. Look at the finish here. The fake, and watch the head of the stick, too. He's got a little twister at the end. Yep. Stick is high in his left. Twists it against the grain and sticks it in that bottom corner.
That was a big moment right there. Jack alone with a big save. Failed, cleared, though, for Hopkins. And then an easy opportunity for Ryder Garnsey. Naruski wins that draw for Johns Hopkins. So final minute here of this third quarter. And a chance for Hopkins to dig into this 6-goal deficit.
Garnsey with his third. And when you watch him finish in tight, you watch him cradle, you could just tell the stick's an extension of his body. Hours upon hours in the backyard.
Shot clock not a factor now for Hopkins. That 6-goal deficit is, though. Here's Forey Smith, already has 3 on the night. Forced back behind the cage. Here's Williams. Down the alley, now back to his left. That's what he wants to try. Over the top. "17 seconds for Marr and the Blue Jays. Epstein thought about a question mark. Couldn't pull the trigger. And then tried to get it to Marr. Goes past the end line, a turnover. Final seconds of this third quarter, and the clock winds down. Joey Epstein and the Blue Jays putting up a fight, but Notre Dame taking the punches and responding. Up 6 heading to the fourth.
The NCAA Men's Lacrosse Championships is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And Capital One. What's in your wallet?
A huge story tonight. First action of the year for the Irish, and he's got a hat trick, Paul.
He's back. First half, they find him on the backside of the man up. Have a corner. Second half, flying through the air. 2019, you're allowed to dive. Well, in the playoffs, you're going to have to deal with a diving Ryder Garnsey. And then the finish. You think he's pumped?
He is pumped. So are the Irish. They led by 8 at the half. Hopkins had a great third quarter. Closed it to within 4 at one point, but a couple of goals here by Notre Dame. Heading into the fourth now, it's a 6-goal advantage for the Irish as the winner will head to the NCAA quarterfinals next weekend.
So he misses 14 games. Opposing coaches have 14 games of tape and now enter him with players that didn't really exist last year. Connor Morin didn't play much. Jacoboy's played a little bit. Quinn McCann's a freshman.
Meyer has 4 goals in this game, by the way.
So now you can't look at the tape of last year with Garnsey because there's different characters around him.
And how he will play within that offense, and we're seeing a little bit of it tonight. Didn't get very many minutes in that first quarter, but he has seen a lot since. Hopkins needs to get some goals here in a hurry. You see the rain coming down. The field is sopping wet.
And they've made a comeback behind Joey Epstein, who's been amazing. But I can't get over how easy it is for him to find the short stick matchups. It's either they're doing something incredibly well with Bobby Benson and the offensive coordinator, or Notre Dame defensively really doesn't care if he gets a shorty.
Let's go, 2!
Concannon trying to get his defender on skates. Comes upfield.
Got a shorty again. So do you fight through the pick or do you switch? I think Notre Dame's comfortable with switching, but That's not good news because he will feast against the shorty. Now you have to slide early. If you don't, he'll stick it.
Now he's going back to the goal. Now he'll draw a flag.
Oh, yeah, 4!
Get the call from our officials. I think we should probably recognize Matt Palin, Mark McGinnis, and Josh Blaisdell, our officials. Their moms are watching today. They'd be upset with us if we didn't mention them working hard in the rain tonight. There's the call.
It's like a 30-second hold.
Hollenbeck in for 30 seconds, so a big opportunity here for Hopkins. Williams right on the doorstep.
Got to finish that.
Couldn't finish. My bad. That's Luke Schilling, man-up specialist for Hopkins.
You want to make a run and close this gap in the beginning stages of the fourth quarter. You got to can that one.
We get an offside here against Notre Dame. His shots was good, nice on the clear, but a little miscommunication. Back to Hopkins, all full strength now.
Let's go, Joey!
Slide comes to Forey Smith.
Oh, yeah, 2!
Concannon. Oh, wow, what a catch behind the cage. Cole Williams made a heck of an athletic play just to keep that ball with Hopkins. 36 seconds to shoot now for the Blue Jays.
Have a go!
Concannon now working a little two-man game up top with
Got a
FC.
shorty again. It's too easy in the pick game for them to give their best player an easier matchup.
Now the slide comes. Tried to force the pass. An outstanding job by Keelty to knock it down. Shot. Pins that one off the post. Watch out in the parking lot.
Jack Malone got a piece of that. But I was saying earlier, Jack Malone has been impressive. And I'm not at practice every day, so Darby can be outplaying him every single day. But the bottom line is this. Sometimes the bright lights, different players perform at a different level. He might have just needed this opportunity.
The Irish taking a little bit of air out of it. Leading by 6 here in the fourth quarter. Well, Wheaton Jackaboy with another rifle shot, and there's Jack alone again.
I like this kid. Takes up decent amount of the cage. He's a lefty. He's thrown some good outlet passes. He's been talking.
Sir! Call, duel! Call, duel! Joey, get the ball! Joey, get off the crease, Joey!
Hopkins now with their substitutions. Williams coming upfield. Second line midfield on. Baskin is there. Keogh too. There's Baskin. Williams up top. Firing and scores. You called it earlier in the game. That's how this young man has been getting it done over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and he does it again.
Love him up top. But in the third quarter, when he had a couple of opportunities, how is he shooting the ball? Underhand. Ball was flying, goalie could play stick on stick. When you're 6'5" and you're running downhill and you put the stick behind your neck and the goalie can't track it and it's humming towards that bottom corner, count it, Cole.
Williams cuts this deficit now back to 5.
Gotta love the fight, right?
Hanging in there. They could have gotten their doors blown off here at the beginning of the second half, and they refused to let that happen. Naruski's also winning some draws here for him, which has been a benefit. Now back to Epstein. Arden Cohen is the matchup that Notre Dame wants on Epstein. And they get it here, number 36.
Can build an offense for the next 3 years. A lot like Pat Spencer his freshman year. He was so good. You just felt like they could build all the pieces around him for the next 3 years. That's with Joey Epstein. The challenge is finding those guys to complement him because he is a national attackman of the year type talent down the road.
Baskin now up top to Keogh. Here's Williams again. Will he try it one more time? Over to Marr. Baskin. Marr again. He'll fire. Can't get it there. That hit off of somebody, and that doesn't feel good. It's Zinn. It looks like it. That'll leave a mark. Zinn will head to the bench right now. Get a little ice on that. Bring Cannon back in. Double comes to Williams. Baskin handles the pass. Cohen knocks it away from Baskin. And it's going to go to Notre Dame. Great play by Arden Cohen, causing the turnover.
That's a big-time check. You see the stance, though, on Arden Cohen? That's a breakdown-ready defensive stance.
Off the post again. Notre Dame's been unlucky on a couple of their shots here in the second half. Here come the Blue Jays. Cole Williams didn't even know it was coming. That's a bad turnover if it indeed ends up that way. Now we get a whistle. Hold against Hopkins. It's going to the Irish. Now again, up 5, the Irish can take a little bit of air out of this. Still 70 seconds to shoot, so they can take over a minute off this clock. Ryder Garnsey tried the skip pass to Willits. Rapine tracks it down. He'll get it out to Jones, who again loses it. Big ground ball. And the Irish pick it up. Loses it again. At midfield, it's up for grabs.
That was a good 2-on-1 by Hopkins. Playing the man ball there to get this opportunity.
Like Hopkins may have wanted a call there on Marr. They won't get it. 7:20 left to go in this contest. Down 5. Cannon. Not even close. Way over the top, but Hopkins will keep it.
You know, Arden Cohen, the sophomore who's on Joey Epstein. This is a big-time matchup, but because of all the switches, we really haven't seen much of it.
This is what we see right now. Epstein coming up, one-handed shot. That was tough. Here comes Notre Dame with a full head of steam. And in a little bit of trouble in the corner. Works his way out of it, though. Trent's. We'll get a flag on the field here against Hopkins.
It's going to be offsides on the Jays.
Charlie Trent's, though, nice job of keeping possession in the corner. Jays with a mistake. It's going to be a man-up opportunity once we get a whistle for the Irish, but they're more than happy to just let this clock run right now. Ryder Garnsey. Now we'll get another flag. Garnsey, great pass and a score. Garnsey got slashed, kept with the play, found a teammate right on the doorstep, and the lead is back to 6.
This is an incredible pass. High level of difficulty to thread the needle farthest away from the ball. Oh, you could poke him. He's coming back at you. He's got 3 goals and a masterful pass. You got to deal with 50 in white coming down the stretch for the Irish.
Eight different Irish have found the back of the net, including Ryder Garnsey 3 times in his first action of the year for Notre Dame. The lead is 6 with just over 6 to play.
And I don't care how good and talented you are. When you sit out 14 games and you're a team guy, the last thing you want to do is disrupt the chemistry, right? So finding those seams and opportunities offensively if you're Garnsey.
Oh, wow. Leonard, did you see that play by Leonard? He wins possession and flips it forward, and Quinn McCann tracked it down for what amounts to a back-breaking goal for the Irish. Look at this athletic play by Charlie Leonard.
You have all these pieces to the puzzle offensively. You add Ryder Garnsey to the mix, and then Charlie Leonard's facing off at almost 60%, which is not the norm for Kevin Corrigan. So you're feeding this offense more opportunities. Quinn McCann, how about that play too? Closing in, the awareness. Yep, the awareness around the crease. And they love this kid because he is a jack-of-all-trades midfielder. A lot like a Ryan Conrad would be for Virginia. He does everything. He's one of their better short-stick defenders as a freshman. He can play on wings. You see him going in the box and making that offensive play. That kid's got some game.
Desperation time now for the Blue Jays. Down 7, under 6 minutes to play. Alex Concannon and company know they've got to put some immediate pressure now on Schmidt in that net. There's a chance right there. Marr buries it. So that's step number 1, clearly.
It's step number 1, and you get your senior and one of your leaders to get the 9th goal of this game. But Kyle Marr has had an amazing career as a lefty, big-time shooter. Hasn't had as many opportunities down the stretch with the emergence of guys like Joey Epstein and Cole Williams and Corey Smith. Make no mistake about it, Kyle Marr, when this offense is at its best, he's getting lefty looks.
28th goal of the year for Marr. There you see Epstein's numbers. Marr was the leading scorer on last year's team. Epstein this year. Naruski's won some draws. That's a big one right there. Possession to the Blue Jays. Petramal will call a timeout now. 5:15 remaining here. They've got possession but down 6 goals. See the rain continuing to come down here. It has been a soggy night in South Bend. This Blue Jay coaching staff now just trying to figure out what can we do here in the final 5:15 to get to within 1 or 2 goals to have a chance in the final minute.
See the rain?
Yeah.
It's been the story of the spring.
It really has. If the Irish can hang on with the final 5:15 of this game, they will move on to take on Duke Saturday at 2:30 in the quarterfinals. Virginia and Maryland on the other side of the bracket there on Saturday. That game will start at noon on ESPNU. Meanwhile, Penn State, Loyola, Penn, and Yale, those games being played at Rentschler, the Rent outside of Hartford. Sunday's game starting at noon and then following up at 2:30, all on ESPNU. Don't forget, by the way, Paul, just real quickly, go to ESPN.com or NCAA.com, rather. That's the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. Sorry about that, man.
Yeah, Penn State answering the bell. 106 years of lacrosse at Penn State. The noise has been never won a playoff game. Well, they scored 25 goals today against UMBC. Their offense is downright scary, okay, because it's not just Grant Ament and Mac O'Keefe.
Yeah.
You got Nick Spillane. You have Jack Kelly, TJ Malone. I mean, it's unbelievable how they hit you on so many different areas, and they're going to be tough to deal with for Loyola. But Loyola has Pat Spencer, who's a generational type talent. So I look at that matchup.
And Stover, a guy who can stand on his head if he has to, and will have to in that game.
But the winner of that game has significance. Obviously, get to the Final Four, but more than just that, could be the inside track to the Tewaaraton for Grant Ament or Pat Spencer.
That's a good point. All 4 of those games next weekend shaping up, no matter who wins this game tonight, shaping up to be big time. Williams stoned by Schmidt. Great look by Williams. Couldn't get it past Schmidt, though. Garnsey withstood the pressure, held on to the ball. Clock clearly the friend of Notre Dame at this point. Costabile over to Garnsey. Back up top to Jacobois. There's Griffin Westland, the freshman. 40 to shoot still for the Irish in this possession. Jacobois now up top. Irish more than content to just run clock. Gleason. Costabile had his cross knocked away before he can get anything on that shot clock. Shot clock violation. Here we go with Hopkins. 3.5 to go. Hubler. Head up. Schmidt is there. Couple of saves now for Schmidt. Sophomore out of Culver Academy. Preserving this 6-goal cushion for Notre Dame.
Big confidence boost for Schmidt was the ACC semifinal win against Duke when he had 18 saves. It was the best game of his career. He played okay in the loss against Virginia. It was the offense that didn't come to life that day when they only scored 4 goals. So Schmidt, who was a question mark a lot of this season, has now started to get settled in playing his better lacrosse.
He started 10 of the 14 games. Schmidt gave way to John Zullo for 4 games about midway through the season, but Schmidt won that starting job back, and that's where he stands right now with this Irish team. 30 seconds to shoot. 2 minutes and 30 seconds in the game. McCann avoids the check. Empty goal right now for the Irish. Will they take a shot? They will. And Costabile scores. Then that can just about do it for this Notre Dame squad.
We didn't know what offense we would see from Notre Dame tonight, because we've seen a variety of play out of the Irish, but tonight their offense answered the bell. There's a wet Kevin Corrigan.
Reasonably happy, Coach Corrigan. You're a lot happier, even though you might not show it, when you get the W in an NCAA tournament game.
When you ride Matt Palin, you're not going to win that battle.
Assistant number 15, Quinn McCann. Notre Dame goal, his third.
Ruski wins another one for Hopkins. Zinn now on his horse, trying to get it to Marr. Couldn't quite make that connection. The Irish will look to clear with the big lead. Notre Dame coming up next. What do you make of that matchup, Notre Dame and Duke, rather, coming up next in the quarters?
Early in this decade, those were the Titanic matchups, right? 2010, when C.J. Costabile scored that winner for Duke and given John Danowski his first national championship. Then the title game in 2014, and so many epic playoff battles on championship weekend. But because the way the sport's changing, now you see it in the quarterfinals. It's great.
Two offenses where at least, I don't know how Ryder Garnsey changes it in terms of Notre Dame moving forward, but two offenses that go through the midfield, right?
They do, but now with Garnsey and Gleason down low,
that changes things
everything.
Yeah.
You have that balance.
And, of course, that great duo on the defense for Duke. JT Giles-Harris and Cade Van Raphorst. Be a stern test for this Notre Dame team.
It's a good matchup. Giles-Harris really blanketed Gleason in the regular season. Held him to like 3 shots in that game.
Shot clock violation against the Irish. More than happy to just run that 80 seconds off.
And credit Johns Hopkins for the fight here. You thought that this game would be completely out of their grasp, and they made it close.
Got to within 4 goals here in the second half, but just couldn't quite get any closer.
And credit their seniors, guys like Kyle Marr. I always think of the seniors when the losing team in the tournament has to go home. End of a career for a guy like Kyle Marr.
Gets one final shot on goal.
Think of the journey and families coming for all these seniors, all those moms that
no question
make the trek on a Mother's Day. It's tough. You don't want to see your kid and his career come to an end because you know what they've invested.
Final horn sounds here at Arlotta Stadium. The Irish moving on to the quarterfinals next weekend. They'll play the Duke Blue Devils. For the Johns Hopkins Blue Jays, their season comes to an end. Coaching staff, Coach Corrigan and company, congratulating coaching staff and the players. Again, familiar territory for the Irish as they advance to the quarterfinals for the 9th time in the last 10 seasons. Big story today.